Who, me? Yeah, hold on. My turn. I saw my turn. Sorry. So, are we all well? Good. Let's have a quick look. Let me just have a quick look around, see some friends. So, yeah, thanks for being here. Big numbers. Big numbers for a Tuesday. You've got nothing else to do. Right. Here goes nothing, folks. Um, things are about to change in the group, um, quite massively, actually. It's going to be pretty much flipped on its head. And I just really, I guess, first want to say that anyone who is uncomfortable with what's about to be said, um, you have my maximum respect and understanding, and I'm absolutely fine with that. Because what I'm about to tell you is pretty devastating, and has been tearing me apart personally for, in a big way, for about a month, but more for a little bit longer, as things developed in this group and we went to a place where I didn't ever foresee. Some of you are aware for various reasons, but for some, this is going to come as a major shock. On Friday of this week, I am in court on fraud charges. I pleaded guilty to 4 out of 5 charges on something, and I'm which I'll go into, and I'm told that in around 4 weeks I'll be sentenced and I shall be going to prison. And I've been told to expect a 3.5-year prison sentence. So by May, I'll be gone. And right, that's the worst bit out of the way. So there we go. That's that. Do not look at chat. So now you're sat there thinking, what the actual, I won't say it because we've got the Rev in the house. So now for the facts. I have been involved in, personally, back comes the curtain, it's time. I've been involved in sports trading for about 15 years on and off as a bit of a sideline, individual personal business. Been involved in some pretty well-known systems and services. And unfortunately, as a result of a few complaints, which, you know, they're valid, but whatever, there was an investigation into my business operation, our business operation with some other people, back in early 2019, and they ended up going back through 7 years of my work, our work, and during that time they found that I placed some misleading information on websites, and for this reason, I was questioned multiple times over the past couple of years with all this building and the group becoming remarkable. I was then charged with fraud by false representation for placing phrases, terms, associations on a website. I don't even get me started. So for reasons I won't go into, if you don't mind, I decided to keep other people out of it. And as you may or may not have guessed from our time together, coming back, don't know, you know, some of you I've known for a couple of years through social media, I've made some pretty helpful contacts along the way. And things I've done, sort of hobby, business, work-wise, has also helped that. And some of those people happen to be from a political background, let's say. And yeah, I consider loyalty to be everything, and for that reason, I am firmly taking this situation on the chin myself. They found out that the investigation found that it was legitimate. It was running for long periods of time, hence the not guilty on the first charge. Again, I won't go fully into that, but it was a legitimate enterprise, and it was only at that point of doing something very stupid that it became sort of factually incorrect, and then everything that came after it became a fraud. So they're not challenging that, and they're dropping that. And I don't know why I told you that, because you don't need to know the ins and outs of that. But that leaves me with 4 things that I really can't hide or run from. And it's all on me. And I need to face up to it. And I equally need to face up to you, because I've made some good friends acquaintances. And I guess it's kind of time that I just, in some way, bared my soul to you right now. I have been expecting it in some ways. I've been fighting it because it's just crazy. I don't want to go into it, but yeah, gamblers lost money. Guy put the wrong thing on a website, whatever. But no, I'm not justifying what's happened because clearly it's wrong. But amongst all of this happening, way back when, Mason was created, and this is obviously going back many years. The other stuff, so historic in terms of before Mason. And in a weird kind of way, Mason became what it was through my own, by my own education, people I know, people I met, and through people I met through business and work. So, and clearly my deep, well, I say education and love for everything that is international relations, strategy, and politics. So this was formed. And I happened to make the mistake, as I'm sure some of you will most definitely remember, where I had a bit of a crossover and I made one tweet, which then came down within hours and the trolls saw it. And basically they tried to beat me with it ever since, as they do, which was connected to the sports trading and stuff. But that just went away and that was history. And the group has grown, developed, turned into more than I ever could imagine, and is doing a lot of good. But I always knew that my mistakes were coming up behind me, and I had trolls pushing me all the way to remind me and dig and just relentlessly going at me as they do. But I took it because I do, broad shoulders and in some kind of ways, on that they were right, but they didn't know about that yet, but whatever. So fast forward to January, and as those main trolls were leaving, you'll remember the big issues, they went off and they've basically dedicated their lives to bringing me down. Multiple fake accounts, constant harassment, just attack. So that's disrupted the group and me posting generally in updates. As you know, you've seen people moan, I don't blame them, but with some of the people that we've had to remove and we found out was working with them and on their side, it was most of the gobshites, to be honest, from the early days, and the troublemakers and those that whatever. But I guess that I had the guilt of knowing what I was dealing with, and that was, on me. But then I started to see the good that the group was doing, and it outweighed anything that I thought the trolls could ever do to us. So I just, I stood and fought them and took them on, as I did. Unfortunately, my issue that I mentioned there was brought forward. Someone who was involved on the sports side happened to mention it on social media, somehow got a tag in for me, and the trolls jumped in like a rabbit migrant trying to get off the dinghy at Dover and claim himself some benefits. But yeah, they jumped all over it and they got more information. That then led to them getting some more information. Trolls do what trolls do. Can't blame them. That's what a troll does. And they caused lots of trouble and just went crazy. So at that point, they then clearly wrongly assumed that all this was involved, this group. And they got the name of the contact of the police who was dealing with my other stuff, contacted them with a host of wild accusations. About 10 of them put in crazy, you would not even believe the stuff that they said. Ranging from it's a religious sect to an extreme right-wing brainwashing. We have extreme right-wing brainwashing parties. And, both of those things, to be fair, no disrespect to anyone, including the Reverend, I think everyone knows that how stupid that sounds. I am pretty much middle of the road on everything in life. All right, some of the parties' music's a bit brainwashy, but it's not my fault. You choose safe, you don't. Yes, anyway. But sorry, Kev. But sorry. So from last month, there was actually an investigation into this group. Crazy. They all got together and it was like Christmas come early for them. They were writing statements, all the usual suspects, all the people that you all know and could name. I don't even want to bother naming them, were writing statements to this action fraud lady, and she thought she had stumbled across some kind of Charles Manson setup. She thought that she had assumed, I've got you all tied up in a bunker somewhere. Because this is the level of insanity that they fired at her. I shouldn't make light of it, but it's been a rough month. The Rev, I was going to say, God bless him, I don't know if that's allowed, but whatever, I will say it anyway, who cares? They said wasn't a real reverend. They said he wasn't a real reverend. Truly, they did say that. He has been spoken to, and that did not end very well for the lady in question. The officer, I mean, with someone who works in another position of authority, and apparently they weren't real either. And in the trolls' minds, nothing was real. It was just all crazy and fiction, which ended up being egg on their face, which, was nice, but it didn't help that people that I care a lot about and have a lot of time for were being pushed on things that were not their fault because of the sins of, I guess myself. It didn't sound religious there, but it did a bit, sorry. And the investigator, this lady just completely blindly believed them, which was insane. But luckily for me, I've kept endless records on everything when starting this, probably because of what happened before and having that thrown in my face. And I was hyper aware of making sure I had every single I dotted and T crossed. But over the last month, I've been aware that this is happening. I've been aware of this has been happening probably too much, given that for months I've had a mole in their camp. What's good for the goose, isn't it? Idiots. So yeah, I've seen everything they've said and done, which is why I've known some of the stuff that they're going at. They've doxed members of the team. You've probably seen it. Some of you have seen it, some haven't, because some just want to live their normal life and just want to get news and information and stuff from the group. And I don't blame you. They've named members of the team. They've said stuff about them. They've personal stuff's been shared. Clearly, they've come at me. Should have asked. Why didn't I just ask? Hooroo, why didn't you just ask? My name's Miles. Why didn't you just ask? You did ask. Wow, what did I just say? Anyway, curtains back. But technically my legal name is Mason, but I'll get onto that in a minute. Trolled the trolls, didn't I? With a Y, I'm not common. Anyway, Steve Allen. Wowzer. Yeah, so did I really just say that? Yeah, I did. Anyway, so with this, knowing this is coming, I've basically prepared around 2,000 pages of documents all ready for this woman, because I've seen what they've sent, and it was so hilarious. I could share it with mods and the team, and I've prepared everything, all evidence of the support payments, proof of who got what, the stuff about refunds. I had to go into people I speak to, sources of information, some that were not willing initially to give their names, which was awkward, but in the end I had to handle that. And I just tried to, which, it kind of lost a bit of it wasn't great. But I needed to get all that because I knew there was going to be asking those questions, because I'd seen that the other side said it was just all made up. I had to break down how Patreon works, as I could see that they basically trying to say that Patreon was illegal and you can't charge for a news service, and you can't, Discord should be free, and how can you charge for Discord? And so they needed to understand how this has grown, developed and built, if Discord is not an illegal platform. And they were telling her as if, they've been on this group, most of those people, they were telling them that it was all, all illegal, that you can't have Discord and blah, 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 and the things he said and everything, go and nick Owen Jones. Bloody hell. Leave me alone. But yeah, Owen Jones. I printed his Discord, his Patreon out as well. I was like, hey, in your face, go and nick him. Be worth it then. I'll do 10 years to that little prick. Anyway. So, I prepared lots of details. Primarily into the support side and the financial side. And I'm just going to say now, because I've been watching their crap for a long time, and I've been watching their checklist of, oh, we've got him and all this. I will sit here now and I can guarantee you that I have, one, since the start of this, and I'm going back to Twitter when it first started, the teams of the strategists with inside government have been aware of this group. A fact. I have shared with government multiple things that you have asked me to and things that have come up from this group. That's an absolute fact. I have had strong backing and support for this group. That's a fact. I've had strong financial backing and support from this group, from members like yourselves and externally. Yes, that £1 million figure, they love that one. That's the one they use. I had to get that together. That's an absolute fact. But these are the things that built up their fantasy of saying that this is all rubbish. Clearly, support. I've got all of that. It helps. I go back to the Reverend speaking to the officer. I think she was caught quite off guard by the fact that the Rev is clearly aware of certain things. They said that Kim Fraser was my daughter. I mean, really? With that accent? Anyway, no, I'm joking. No, sorry, Kim's gone. But I'm just trying to give you an example of the mentality of this whole thing. That is a legitimate thing that they said. So luckily I had everything covered. And do you know what? She hasn't even turned up because she said that they haven't got anything. The information that she's seen is non-existent. Everything's fine. Yes, the refund issue was a bit of a balls up, but they caused most of it over trying to push for people getting double refunds, 180-day Patreon claimbacks on PayPal. And they know that. And I have evidence of that. And that's all part of my massive, massive kind of file. But yeah, you know, this group and me and where it all started and everything came from, I guess, me, my life, my education, my business, my contacts, my friends. And I guess here's what's going to probably be the most surprising thing. All of those things remain because I've been loyal to certain people and I have assurances, I have friendships, I have connections that guarantee me that remains. And before even bringing this to you today to have this conversation while me chatting, and I won't take questions at the end about anything specific. You can come on and say stuff because I know people are going to want to shout at me or do whatever. But, you know, I'd rather not go into details of everything, but I'll tell you more, don't worry. Before bringing this to you, I ensured that those lines of communication stay open to me. Because if they stay open to me, they stay open to you. Now, how that's going to happen, I guess I'm going to leave up to the whole new Mason Mills Who Room mystery. But I can assure you that it will. And as for info going back, I'm also still able to do that. But that's something for another day. You may see a new account added that's watching at a certain room. And I've got some things that I need to do. But you may be wondering, how on earth is he going to pull this off? And it's going to continue. But this is the key point now, after all the shock. And I cannot look at the camera because I can't even imagine what's going on. I've already put in place some things that will ensure it continues. It helps that I maintain those loyalties, never burnt bridges. And this is going to sound absurd, but I already have a full plan on how I can update you and you can still communicate with me. Yeah, he's crazy, but you know, when have you ever doubted me to not follow through on something? So yes, that is already in place. Strategy, kind of my thing. So the fear of what these trolls were saying, as they are actually certifiably insane, meant that I needed to pull back the curtain and make sure that I had everything ready, as I said. And you know, what is now clear, she received 10 statements from all that lot. And the last I heard from them, she told them to shut up on Twitter. So those that do follow it would notice that they shut up. They started a few more accounts because they just couldn't shut up enough and started doing countdowns and stuff. So that might understand why they're doing that. But they're more annoyed now that nothing untoward was found on this group. And what they gave her, she hasn't even spoke to me about. And the Rev, as I say, was thankfully aware of a lot of things regarding you know, myself and support, and he had some choice words and situations for her, but that's not for me to, go into. But she was pretty much stopped in her tracks by knowledge, because the reality was very different to what they'd said. But I know they won't give up, because that same woman, officer, apologized for being slightly edgy about her, but that woman, in her excitement, told them all about my current issues. So that fed the trolls. And what's the first rule? Don't feed the trolls. So now they believe that the clock is ticking and this group ends on Friday. Yay, countdown. Well done, guys. This group ends on Friday. Well, they're wrong. And over my dead body will that happen? I have made a monumental cock up, a huge mistake. And that was made long before Mason, long before this group. And I appreciate that some of you are not going to feel comfortable with this and you will leave. And that is your absolute right. And I think nothing different of you, because you have been with me through some stuff, and I told you to take a leap of faith, and we followed through on that, and this group has changed. But the group will live on. And for those that leave, if you ever want to come back, because I 100% will be back. In fact, the group won't be going ever. I'm still going to be there. And it will be here when my personal nightmare's over. And the reason for that is these trolls underestimated me, and they should have learned. They should have realized that I do not back down. They banked on me shutting up shop, embarrassed, scared to tell you, and then leave you all stranded. And then they can pick up the pieces with their little servers and go, oh, come here, wasn't he horrible? We will not end. This group will live on. And we shall survive this. And I promise you, I promised you once that your faith would be repaid. And I am determined to get myself, because obviously, I've got my own stuff to deal with here, but I promise to get myself and the group through this. However huge this task may seem to you right now, sit here listening to this, probably mouths open, probably thinking, dear Lord, I'm not going to let my mistake and the nastiness of those people try and ruin it. But yes, I am going to prison, probably within a month. And just saying that seems pretty much inconceivable, but it's something that I will refuse to let define me, define the group, or the good that this group does for every one of us. And I'm damn sure that I won't let a handful of external idiots break apart the home that we have built for each other. And that sounds blasé, but it's true. The cult, not just the cult in the NFG, and I mean, VIP, and they moan, and we look at them and we think, oh, shut up. But still, we have a place where we are safe. We've made friends. We've done some crazy things. We continue to do strange things. We have party nights. People are up dancing. Where did that come from? And you don't think I'm going to follow through on this and make this happen? Underestimated me completely. But they've got their moment. They've got their fun. Because of that lady telling them about me and something that happened in my past. So they've got their moment, and enjoy it, because when that moment ends, they're finished. They're dead. They have no more oxygen. They have nothing on me and nothing on this group, because all this group's done is good. I said at the start, like, coming together and sticking together, but coming together, we found ourselves ahead of Brexit. And this started with Dominic Cummings. Pretty much, that. And I guess, I don't know. I guess I probably only fit in that in this segment. Whoa, what a segment. Who would have thought I'd ever be doing a segment like this? Still like the fact I've got segments, but anyway. What's kind of stuck in the back of my mind is, I guess ironically, Dom's words. Some bits that Dom said. And I remember from one of his blogs, he said, in the business world, big companies mostly die within a few decades because they cannot maintain an internal system to keep them aligned to reality. They look at only the positives while not identifying how they can use the negatives to their advantage. No organization has survived on good news. Smart guy. He also said, I think the right way, quite extreme here, but bear with me, to deal with terrorism, and it seems extreme, but I do take some of their actions to be that way against us. But that's, that's extreme, but that's my own personal feelings because clearly I am the brunt of it. He said, I think the right way to deal with terrorism is to carry on with normal life, like Britain used to when it was a more serious country. God, he never pulls punches, does he, that guy? If you can stay together and focus during the most perilous of times, you win. I like winning. People like winning. Winning creates strength and security. His words, not mine. Classic Dom. All that can come from keeping calm, keeping focused. Sorry, all that can come from keeping calm. Sorry, Dom. All that can come from all that. Fucking hell. All that can come from keeping calm, keeping focused, and carrying on. That is what it means to be British. God, topical. Stick that on the Britishness Charter. Yeah, kind of cool that he dropped in there. So I'm gonna wrap up, but I just want to say, I guess I cannot ask you to stick with me, and I can't ask you to stick with this group. I can't ask you to follow me on my own personal journey. But the offer is there for everyone. And I will respect your decision. And I respect that as people that I've got to know over a long time. And in a Mason-esque way, to tell you that I already know how I'm going to do regular updates, you're going to be able to keep in contact with me, and I'm going to be able to do cult casts. Don't ask. Trust me.